Hello everyone, it's Inter and welcome to another Gotham Knights video, and in today's video I'm going to be going over details and info we learned from this IGN article where they had a chance to chat with WB Games Montreal creative director Patrick Denning and senior producer Flair Marty. So yeah, let's get into the details that we learned from IGN's little chat with WB Games Montreal. So first I'm going to go over and show you guys the two new screenshots that we received from this article. So the first screenshot shows Red Hood looking over Gotham City, and I gotta say Gotham City looks amazing. And the second screenshot shows both Red Hood and Nightwing looking over Gotham City, and it looks so amazing to see them together. These screenshots show fantastic art design and the colors are vibrant but yet still show atmosphere and are very Gotham-like. Okay, now I'm going to be going over some of the major details we learned, and if you want to read the entire article, I will have it in the description below so you guys can take a look at it. But now, let's get into it. Okay, so the first question that IGN asked that I picked out was something very important, very major to the game, and they asked, are special abilities tied to the stamina bar in the bottom left corner? And Patrick Reading answered, it kills me how fast people pick out on these things. I shouldn't be that surprised. Yeah, you have special abilities in your ability tree that you'll unlock, and you can choose to unlock it in different ways, as well as how you use your gear, and some of that will tie into that bar that we'll be talking about in the future. And then Marty says that there is a bit of a strategic approach to it. So after reading their answer for this question, I think that when you do special abilities, your stamina bar is going to go down, and then when you hit more enemies and you do more damage and you get like a combo or something, the stamina bar is going to go up fast. And then when you're just walking around and exploring after you're fighting some enemies and you go explore right after, then the stamina bar is going to go slowly back up. But yeah, I think that's how it's going to be, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Like they say that they're going to talk about it in the future. Okay, so the next question that was asked was, is this a fully open world? Will areas be blocked off or level gated? And then Patrick Reading said, it is one open world city right from the start. And no, there's no level gating whatsoever. So yeah, this is awesome to hear that when the game starts, you'll be able to go wherever you want. There's not going to be no areas that are cut off that you have to unlock later. Everything's going to be open right at the start, and there's not going to be no level gating. So you have to be this specific level to get over here. No, everything's going to be open, which is really awesome to hear. Now, the next question I was asked was, what do enemy levels mean to the player then? And then Patrick Reading said, it's true that as you're getting more powerful in your progression, you're going to see a sliding scale in terms of not just the level of the enemies, but even some of the types of enemies that you're going to go up against. But it's not a grind. It's not a situation where you say, oh god, I have to grind this type of mission in order to level this up and then get this. It's really that when you encounter open world crime activities and other activities that involve the AI, you're going to see a range, right? You might see some guys that are a little bit weaker than you and guys that are a bit stronger than you. And how you approach each of the situations, it presents you with some choices that you're going to have to make. Like, is a situation where I'm going to maybe swap out a piece of equipment because I think I'm going to handle it a better way? Do I want to take a more stealthier approach? All those options are available for the player, and the level of the enemy is just one factor in deciding that. So what I understood from this answer is that the enemy's levels is a factor to it, but it's really how you want to play the situation. Like they said, when you encounter an open world activity, it's going to be up to you. So when you encounter, let's say, a stronger level enemy and it's stronger than you, well, then you're gonna have to ask yourself, is this where I want to be stealthy? Is this where I want to equip a different piece of gear that does more damage? It's gonna be all up to you. And like they said, it's not gonna be grindy. It's not gonna be like, oh my god, I have to do all of this just to unlock like this new equipment. It's not gonna be grindy at all, which is awesome to hear. And all of this so far just sounds amazing, and I can't wait to play it. Then the next question I was asked was, how different can the Knights become? Will my Red Hood be different from someone else's Red Hood? And then Patrick Reading answered saying, between the ability tree for Red Hood, which is very unique, and his gear spec and the way you can modify and upgrade both his ranged weapons, his melee weapons, and his suit, absolutely. In the game, the range between character builds remains actually quite robust throughout the entire game. So what he's saying is that, you know, my Red Hood is always going to look different and play different than somebody else's Red Hood, unless somebody's actually copying me. But like each Red Hood, like, and each character is gonna have different abilities that you can unlock, you can modify and upgrade. So everyone's Red Hood and like everyone's Robin and background Nightwing's gonna be different. And he said that the character builds remain actually robust through the entire game, so they're gonna be very different. And yeah, it's gonna be really awesome to see everyone's like abilities that they have unlocked and see how everyone plays differently with these different characters. Okay, so the next question that was asked was, how do character skins work? Are they made up of individual pieces of armor or full outfits? And then Marty said that they're a mix of all of that. And then Redding continued to say, so just to be clear, when we're talking about gear, we're talking about your melee weapon, your ranged weapon, and your suits, which has certain armor characteristics. And then there's your suit style. That's the sort of skinning of the suit, because we didn't want to turn it into some crazy quilt. What we've done is we got distinct suit looks, and then within that there's accessory variation that the player can tap into, and that's the chance to tweak it and make it exactly the way you want it to. So after reading it, the way I understood it is that you're gonna equip a skin, but you're not gonna be able to change everything from the skin. You can only change the armor pieces that you're available to change, that the game like allows you to. So like for Red Hood, maybe you'll be able to customize his shoulder pads, his helmet, and maybe his knee pads. Those are the only parts you're gonna be able to change and customize to like your own fitting. But the way you can change like the color of the skin and make the skin look different is by doing like the little skinning thing that they said in the answer. And it's very similar to Mortal Kombat 11, where you can equip different skins that look very different, but the only thing that you can change from the skin really like to make it your own is by gear pieces, which is by, let's say for example, Scorpion, his mask, his spear, and his sword, and you can change the skin of it, and it's gonna keep that gear that you put on for each skin. So it's gonna make it kind of your own, but at the same time not really. But yeah, I hope you understood how that's gonna work. It's very similar to Mortal Kombat 11 and also Injustice 2 if you ever play those games. And I'm really excited to see all the gear options and everything that you can do with the customization and stuff like that. So the next question that was asked was, is this game gonna be a game as service? And then Marty answered saying that this is not designed as a game as service. There is an ability tree which is different for each of the characters, and then there's gear that you can craft, and so choices that you're gonna be able to make. But that does not mean that this is a game of service. So this is not gonna be like Avengers, where there's gonna be adding a bunch of DLC and stuff like that, free add-ons. It's not gonna be Avengers 2.0. It's gonna be like just a story game that you can do like gear and stuff like that, and different abilities and stuff like that. They're gonna be in the game. That it's not gonna be really like game of service where you add a bunch of new stuff. It's gonna be like a self-contained game with stuff that you can do and craft gear and stuff like that, which is awesome to hear. Now the next question I was asked was, so is Gotham Knights a single self-contained story? And then Marty answered saying, yes, absolutely. You can also completely experience it in solo if you want to. You're not going to be missing on anything. If you're playing on single player, you can be offline if you want to. We think that teaming up and living the dynamic fantasy can be also a great experience for players, but we won't force it on them. So what they're saying is that you can play the game solo if you want, and when you're playing it solo, like all the way if you want to and you don't want to play co-op, you're not going to be missing out on anything of the story. So for anyone that was wondering if I have to play co-op to play the whole story and experience everything, that's not the case. You can play solo and be offline and play the whole story, because you are not going to miss anything of it. Like they said, it's a single self-contained story, and you can play it solo or you can play it with another player if you want to. Now the next question that was asked was, can I play as one knight all the way through? And then Redding said, yup, you can go back to the belfry and say, oh, I've just unlocked the next piece of the mystery and I need to go deal with this thing. So you can decide that this is the perfect opportunity for me to swap out and play somebody else. So we allowed you to dip in and out of those characters, but we know that most players will typically gravitate towards the one hero that really reflects their style. But I think it's always possible for people to sit there and play everyone if they want to. So what they're saying is that you can play as Nightwing the whole way through, and maybe like the other Bat Family members are gonna be AI. So yeah, you can play as one knight all the way through. You can play the whole story with just Red Hood, just Robin, just Batgirl, just Nightwing, or you can play a co-op. And then like they said, that you can go to the belfry, you can switch up between these different characters. And they say that most of the people are gonna like pick their favorite ones, but there's also going to be people that just sit there and play every one that they want to. And that's how I'm going to do. I'm going to play as Red Hood just a little bit, and then I'm going to go to the Belfry and then switch to Robin, and then play as Robin and then switch to Batgirl and then Nightwing. You know how it is. It's going to be really awesome. Now, the next question that was asked was, the gameplay trailer mentions that the player is halfway through the Mr. Freeze storyline. Are there multiple villain quest lines to follow at one time? And then Marty said that there's probably more details that we're supposed to do at this stage, but yeah, that's a clue that we put in there. Yeah, you got it right. So it looks like that the villains in this game are gonna have like really long storylines or like side missions, because they said in the gameplay trailer that they're halfway through Mr. Freeze's storyline. So it looks like different villains are gonna have like very long storylines, and I think I've heard like this like storylines are gonna be like 48 hours long or something, or like 12 hours or something. So yeah, it's awesome to hear that the quests or like the villain quests are gonna be very long, and that we're gonna actually get like story and like development of these characters, and like it's gonna be really awesome. There's not gonna be no more like 15-minute story like side missions like that one from the Arkham Knight with Hush, where you just throw him in a table and that's it. Like we expected him to be something huge in Arkham Knight, but it was just a complete disappointment. And in this game, it looks like that's not going to be the case, that they're going to actually be long side quests and storylines, and that's going to be really awesome to see. And I can't wait to see what other villains and how their storylines are going to play out. Now, the next question that was asked was, what's the time scale of the game? Is there a day and night cycle? And then Marty replied saying, it's actually over many nights. So yes, we do have a kind of day and night cycle, but the daytime is when you spend your time in the Belfry. The Belfry is a super center to our game because it's our base of operations. You get to go back there, analyze all the clues that you've picked up during the previous night, have a little chat with Alfred, craft your gear, and really prepare yourself for the next night of crime fighting. So yeah, daytime is Belfry, and in the night is when you roam into the streets, fighting criminals and unraveling the mystery. So yeah, this is awesome to hear that there's going to be sort of a day and night cycle, that the Belfry is going to be during the day. You go there, you talk to Alfred like they said, you craft your gear, you prepare yourself for the next night, and then during the nighttime is when you go, you roam around, and when you unsolve the mystery and fight different bad guys and criminals and do their storylines, which is really awesome. Then finally, the last question that was asked was, will the knights be out of the disguises in the Belfry? And then Marty said that you kind of got a hint of that in our trailer actually. And then Redding continued to say that it was important to us, the Belfry. I mean, obviously it was a huge role to play in how the player manages their characters and their progression and all of that. But it's also a narrative space. It's a place where the characters are allowed to be seen and have facial expressions and talk to one another. So it serves as a dual purpose, and it's a real effective way of using that space. So it looks like, yes, when they're in the Belfry, the knights are going to take off their outfits and they're going to be just talking to one another, having conversations, facial expressions and all that. And then when the night comes is when they go out and do all that fighting stuff, when they go out and go catch Mr. Freeze and fight the criminals and all that stuff. So yeah, it's awesome to hear that Belfry is kind of like a safe space where you just go there, chill with Alfred, and just have some conversations with Red Hood, with Jason, with Batgirl, with Robin. It's going to be really awesome. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. I know it was a pretty long video, but if you guys stick through it and you guys are still here, I would really appreciate that. And if you guys enjoyed the video at any point, I would really appreciate if you guys could subscribe, like, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on any new videos. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. And if you guys want to take a look at the link of the article, it will be in the description below. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace out, everyone.